Hey, my name is Nadia, and I'm going to read to you a little bit from For the Masters of the Forgotten book I wrote. I might skip around a little bit for the sake of time. You owe me, Delilah almost growled. Azure's passion took over her. She couldn't be cool anymore. I don't owe you shit. In fact, I changed my mind. I do owe you something. I owe you an ass whooping. Azure dropped her book bag, pushed Delilah to the ground, and started pummeling her. The two girls rolled around, kicking and hitting each other. Delilah ripped Azure's beanie off. You bald bitch, get off me! Delilah screamed, but Azure had gotten her on her back and had started wailing on her, punching at her in the face and stomach. This is for the thrice, Azure punched her again. This is for trying to kill Emily, Azure said, wrapping her hands around Delilah's throat and squeezing with all her might. Delilah's legs were kicking wildly as she couldn't breathe. An evil look came over Azure's face as she squeezed harder, making the girl's face turn purple. And this is for leaving my brother to die, you stupid bitch. Azure kept squeezing Delilah's neck with all her rage she had repressed. She was not going to let go. She had only wanted to kick Delilah's ass, but in her rage, she thought it was better to just go ahead and kill her. She was crying as she was strangling the girl. She wanted to let go, but she couldn't. Azure was being lifted off the girl by two people. In her blind rage, she didn't see who they were. It was Nora and Sasha. Azure, calm down. It's over. It's okay. Azure was crying and screaming. I hate her. Let me go. I hate her. Let me go. But Nora and Sasha had a good grip on their friend, and they were not going to release Azure just so she could finish the job on Delilah. As Azure's rage left her body, she stood there and cried. Nora and Sasha embraced her, encircling her so she could have her emotional moment without everyone staring at her so she couldn't see Delilah on the floor. Out of sight, out of mind. The big girl was on the ground, gasping for air. She was squirming around like a fish out of water. She wasn't even able to get up or turn over. All she could do was gasp for air. Her hands were at her throat as if Azure's hands were still wrapped around them. No one helped her, not even her teachers. Everyone had some type of beef with Delilah, as she was one of the biggest drug dealers in the school. Many onlookers even smiled as they watched her gasp for air. After some minutes, Delilah was able to breathe. After even more minutes, she was able to crawl. One of her addicts was kind enough to help her get up and limp away, thinking it would get her free drugs. As Delilah slowly limped away, Teal and Elena came walking down the hall. He stared at the badly bruised and bloody girl. She had purple fingerprints around her neck, a black eye, a bloody mouth, and she was clutching her abdomen. As she limped past Teal, he said innocently, "Oh, I hope that ass whooping didn't ruin your buzz. You okay?" Delilah didn't respond as she couldn't talk. Teal walked up to his sister. She was standing in between Nora and Sasha with not a scratch on her. He grabbed her beanie off the floor and handed it to his sister. Azure was glad to see her brother and Elena. She had calmed down and come back to herself. She put the beanie back on her head. So about that offer on skipping the rest of the day, does it still stand?" She gave a half smile. Teal put his arm around his sister as they walked away. "Always." "Sorry, I didn't even make it to homeroom," Azure said, wiping her nose on her sleeve. "That's okay. Neither did I." Teal put his arm around his sister as they walked down the hall, with Nora, Sasha, and Elena smiling and nodding at each other. So this is a story I wrote about teens going through the rapture, and I loved writing that scene, Azure whooping Delilah's ass. You should get this book. It's thick, but it's really good. It's a fast read because a lot of stuff happens. Enjoy.